Now, major changes in store for the Cambridge kids, the young royals set to start at a new school following confirmation that their family is moving to Windsor. London stood still beneath a grey May sky, rain-crazed silver lines down the gates of Buckingham Palace as cameras clicked and tourists whispered, and within moments, a simple statement rippled across the world. The palace had spoken, this time about Prince Louis, the fourth in line to the throne, the boy whose grin had become a symbol of innocence and mischief, suddenly becoming the subject of a message that carried weight far beyond its words. Royal reporters scrambled to interpret the tone, the phrasing, the silence between the lines, as anchors repeated the headline with solemn tremor. Buckingham Palace confirms a personal update regarding Prince Louis of Wales. For a family that guards privacy like a crown jewel, even that brief admission felt seismic. Outside the gates, umbrellas clustered like dark blooms. Inside living rooms across Britain, families watched news scroll in disbelief. For years, Prince Louis had been comic relief at royal appearances, the little face pulling tongues on balconies, the spark that reminded everyone royalty could still be human. But now, the weight of the palace's statement pulled audiences in. Within hours, journalists from Sydney to Toronto were flooding royal correspondents' inboxes for clues, and the BBC replayed archival footage of the prince at trooping the colour, waving and laughing beside his siblings, contrasting it with the stillness now gripping the palace. Seasoned royal experts admitted they'd never seen such a restrained yet emotionally charged announcement. No details were immediately clear. Was it health? Was it schooling? Was it the weight of royal life touching someone so young? Commentators exchanged cautious glances as cameras lingered on the golden crest above the palace doors, waiting for a second statement that never came. The voice-over lowers, something shocking just happened at Buckingham Palace, and what they revealed left everyone speechless. As the clip fades into slow aerial shots of London rain turning the streets into mirrors, that question hangs in the air like fog over the Thames. What did Buckingham Palace reveal about Prince Louis, and how is it going to change everything we thought we knew about the royal family? What came next was not tragedy but tenderness. The palace's clarification, softly worded yet emotionally raw, explained that the update concerned the family's life together during months of strain, offering a rare glimpse behind the curtain, one that showed courage rather than crisis. In recent years, the Wales household has faced storms few could weather. First came Princess Catherine's diagnosis and the quiet months of treatment that followed, then King Charles's own health battle. The nation saw a monarchy confronting its own mortality, and within that gravity, 3 children trying to make sense of it all. At 7, Prince Louis found himself asking questions far beyond his years. Prince William described the experience as a season of learning and love, saying the family had embraced honesty without fear. "We talk about things," he shared during a visit to a London school, "even when they're difficult, we talk." Those few words cut to the Wales philosophy, truth gently spoken. Catherine and William wanted the youngest to understand that his mother was unwell but not to feel frightened. They told him she needed rest so doctors could help her heal. To Louis, that explanation became a mission to make Mommy smile as much as possible. He began leaving drawings on her bedside table, colorful sketches of gardens, stick figure families, and tiny crowns balanced on smiling faces. On quiet afternoons he'd tiptoe into her room proudly clutching a new masterpiece. She'd laugh, pull him close, and for a moment the palace felt like any other home fighting its way through hard times. William has often said that laughter is the family's lifeblood. "There's always noise in our house," he joked once, but in those difficult months, that noise, the running footsteps, the sudden giggles, became medicine. When the news felt heavy, Louis's antics lifted the air. Teachers at his school, Lamrook, confirmed the same spirit. "He's endlessly curious," one said. "He'll talk about frogs, football and why clouds move." His fascination with the natural world turned into comfort, and afternoons in the garden became sacrosanct. Behind closed doors, evenings slowed down. William would cook pasta while the children set the table, and Catherine, even in recovery, joined when she could, her presence enough to turn the meal into a celebration of ordinary life. It is Lewis's empathy, though, that observers seem to find most remarkable. Sources close to the family reveal he made handmade cards for both his mother and grandfather, and inside one, written in uneven letters, were 4 simple words: "Love makes us strong." That tiny sentence turned out to be the palace's unofficial motto of resilience. Neighbors sometimes spot the family strolling hand in hand through Windsor Great Park, no escorts, no photographers, just parents reminding their children that life is still full of beauty. Locals remember the young prince stopping to talk to dogs, laughing at ducks by the pond, picking up acorns and wildflowers for his mother. These instances of innocence clash poignantly with the grandeur of his title and anchor an image of a monarchy rediscovering the virtue of humility through its youngest member. The update, which came to surprise the world, was not about crisis but rather about how a child in his simplicity reminded an ancient institution about what really can survive: kindness, humor, and the stubborn light of hope. For once, the palace's silence afterward felt like respect, not secrecy, a quiet acknowledgement that some truths are best felt, not explained. Just as the story seemed to settle, another twist appeared, this time wrapped in childlike charm. A handwritten letter arrived at Adelaide Cottage addressed to Prince Louis from the organisers of the World Conquer Championships, a cheerful British charity event to support those with sight loss. The palace replied with characteristic grace, "Prince Louis is currently focused on his studies." The gentle humor of that response instantly went viral. In a few hours, social media lit up with laughter and affection. The note wasn't a dismissal. It was a message. It showed the careful boundary the Wales family guards. Public admiration is welcome, but childhood remains private. William and Catherine understand well the world's affection for their son. Yet, they refuse to let fame steal his simplicity. Catherine once joked during a school visit that she finds conkers in drawers, under pillows, and sometimes even in my shoe. Those little glimpses into domestic chaos have only deepened public fondness. They paint a portrait not of gilded luxury, but of a family delighting in muddy shoes and messy laughter. The Conquer letter episode became a metaphor for their philosophy. Accept kindness, decline spotlight. The palace's balance between warmth and discretion turned what could have been trivial into something symbolic. It reminded Britain that royalty isn't only about ceremony. It's about the humanity hidden behind closed doors. At Adelaide Cottage, Louis continued his adventures, parading toy trucks loaded with chestnuts through the garden, turning ordinary afternoons into royal expeditions. Every gleam of those conkers seemed to echo his mother's words. Children teach us to see the magic in small things. In local shops near Windsor, stories began circulating about a cheerful young boy who sometimes waved through the car window, his hand clutching a paper bag filled with conkers. It's a small town secret everyone keeps with pride. A reminder that sometimes the future of the monarchy is just a child in muddy boots smiling through the glass. The heart of this story beats strongest here. Catherine and William have quietly rewritten what it means to raise royal children. Their guiding principle is presence, being there not just for photographs but for moments that shape character. They've banned mobile phones for now, a rule William shared with gentle humor on a documentary with actor Eugene Levy. "We want them to look up, not down," he said. That simple philosophy stands in sharp contrast to the scrolling world outside their gates. Their evenings follow a rhythm of togetherness. Dinner at the kitchen table, stories about school, laughter over spilled juice, then outdoor play until sunset. Catherine often insists that the best lessons come not with textbooks but from shared chores, gardening, or baking disastrous cakes that somehow taste perfect. Their parenting is deliberate, born from memory. William grew up watching the flashbulbs explode around his parents. He remembers the pressure that fractured lives and vowed to give his children something different. Quiet continuity. The move from London's Kensington Palace to Windsor's Adelaide Cottage was part of that promise. There, life is slower. The children ride their bikes under oak trees, wave to neighbors, and walk to school without cameras trailing behind. Mental and emotional well-being sit at the center of their household. Catherine's early years campaigns and William's advocacy for mental health awareness blend into family life with seamless ease. Conversations about feelings aren't avoided, they're encouraged. Catherine often reminds the children that it is not bravery if there is no fear, it's the courage that speaks about it. William's approach to fatherhood has also redefined royal masculinity. When asked how he'd respond if one of his children came out as gay, his immediate answer was love, unconditional, and proud. His only concern, he said, would be public scrutiny, not acceptance. Those words resonated across the nation, marking him as the most emotionally articulate royal heir in modern history. Together, the couple models empathy in action. They take their children to community shelters and hospitals, quietly, teaching compassion without cameras. George helps stack boxes. Charlotte reads to younger children. Lucy hands out crayons. No press, no pump, just people connecting. At home, discipline is firm but gentle. We explain, not shout. Catherine once said it is calm consistency shaping a household where respect is mutual, not demanded. Each child is encouraged to express individuality while understanding privilege as responsibility. This philosophy traces directly to Princess Diana. William now echoes that wisdom, making sure his children's education is full of both kindness and realism. At twilight, the family gathers for bedtime stories. Sometimes it's the wind in the willows. Sometimes a tale Louis invents himself. The laughter drifting through the windows tells its own truth. Beneath the crowns and coats of arms beats an ordinary family determined to raise extraordinary hearts. And perhaps that is Catherine's quiet revolution, not to change the monarchy through speeches or politics, but through bedtime stories and muddy shoes. It's in these unseen gestures that the future of the royal family is being rewritten. One dinner, one giggle, one gentle conversation at a time. Every generation produces a royal who surprises history. For this one, it may well be Prince Louis. While Prince George prepares for kingship and Princess Charlotte refines the art of diplomacy, Louis stands as the wild card, the child unburdened by destiny, free to shape his own. The recent VE Day commemoration revealed a new side of him. Gone were the playful faces and mischievous waves. Dressed smartly beside his siblings, Louis watched the veterans with quiet reverence. Cameras captured his small hands folded carefully, eyes fixed on his father. It was a fleeting moment, yet deeply symbolic. The first glimpse of a boy beginning to understand the meaning of duty. Experts noted how he mirrored William's posture, subtly absorbing the choreography of leadership. But when the ceremony ended, he reverted to his sunny self, chatting with veterans and grinning at onlookers. That duality, serious yet joyful, is precisely what endears him to the public. The monarchy he inherits will not be the same as his grandfather's. It's smaller, more transparent, and constantly questioned. In that landscape, authenticity will matter more than formality. Louis, with his unfiltered warmth, might become its most powerful ambassador. Royal commentators say the public already senses something distinctive in him, a rare blend of charm and empathy that transcends titles. When he kneels to greet a child during a walkabout or waves with both hands, it feels unscripted, almost cinematic. Those tiny gestures remind Britain that its monarchy, however ancient, still has a heartbeat. At home, William and Catherine nurture that light deliberately. They speak to him about kindness, about listening first and speaking gently. Catherine reportedly tells friends that Lucy has a protector's heart, often stepping between his siblings during squabbles and declaring himself the peacekeeper. That quality, humor wrapped around empathy, may become his quiet superpower in adult life. The whales also know the dangers of overexposure. Louis' appearances are carefully spaced, ensuring the boy grows into his role rather than being consumed by it. This restraint recalls Elizabeth II's own early years when every step into public service was deliberate, not forced.